What's going on, everyone? My name is Andres and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be talking about how to focus in a Zoom class. Alright, I think we can all agree that the current state of the world is kind of crazy and things are very uncertain. However, the show must go on despite the cancellation of physical classes. And if you're like me, you probably find it difficult to concentrate when you aren't actually physically in class and rather behind your laptop, in your underwear, half asleep, without a clue as to what the professor is talking about. So we're gonna fix that. Here are a few tips that I learned from experience and have learned from others as to how to focus and fully retain what you're learning in your Zoom class. Okay, so tip number one is don't Zoom in your room if you get distracted easy. There are tons of distractions in your room that you may or may not be aware of. For example, if you just woke up for your class and you're kind of tired, it may be just easy to just turn off your camera and just innocently lay down, which will eventually lead you to just passing out and missing the entire class. Also, if you got your TV or PS4 just calling your name and you think that you could multitask by looking both at class and looking at the TV, well, you're probably not going to retain very much of what you're learning on a class. Rather, try and simulate a classroom environment. Perhaps it would be beneficial to you if you were to designate a different spot in your house to actually have your online class. And a little rule of thumb that I try to have is to try not to do anything in my Zoom class that I wouldn't do in actual physical class. Tip number two is temporarily or permanently remove the distractions from your room if you're finding that your room is the only place that you like to study. Maybe just place your TV, your phone, PS4 in a different spot of your house, or just make it inconvenient to access your distractions, such as unplugging your PS4 and your TV and just removing your phone physically from your immediate working space, and rather just putting it on high volume ringer and just throwing it underneath your bed. This will allow you to hear any immediate text messages or calls that are coming your way without the distraction of watching Nelk Boys for 30 minutes. Tip number three is mentally return into your semester routine. I think everyone develops a routine when they're in school, whether you consciously made one or one just developed over time. But in any case, try to stick to a general schedule that you would if you were actually physically attending classes, such as before class, taking a shower, getting ready, having your coffee, having some breakfast, or whatever you like to do before your actual class starts. I think it's important that we have to convince ourselves that nothing has changed and that we are still attending class but with the same goal in mind, because our brains can't really tell the difference between experiences and things that we simulate in our minds. Both of them would be interpreted as memories. So try and wear the same type of clothes that you would for normal class, or just anything that you feel comfortable in and that you feel that you can be productive in, because when you feel good, you perform good. There's a great quote by Ruby Granger that states, "If you treat the day like it is worth something, then it will be." Let's give our day a fighting chance. Just because this pandemic is taking a fat doo-doo on all of our plans does not mean that we have to keep letting it. Tipperoni number quattro is make sure that you optimize your Wi-Fi connection. Alright, so I know it can be pretty hard to focus in a Zoom class if your Wi-Fi is pretty cheeks. I know when my Wi-Fi cuts out, I cannot hear my professor at all. She sounds super pixelated, and I know for facts that I'm missing out on some important So what I recommend is get a Verizon Jetpack, or something that's a portable hotspot. They run about $100 to $150, but it's honestly such a wise investment. Try to think of this as another investment, such as your textbooks or any other things that you need for school. They are pretty clutch, I'm not gonna lie. One time I needed to submit a chem lab report at 11:59 p.m. and it was 11:45 and I just finished. And as I was trying to upload it, the campus Wi-Fi just bounced and I was freaking out. Then I remembered I had this little jetpack and I was able to upload it and no problem at all. Honestly, these things are the LeBron clutch factor of online classes. LeBron is better than MJ, by the way. Alright, so tip number five is wear some headphones in your Zoom class. Whenever you throw some headphones in, it really concentrates your attention. And it can also really help you just really focus on what you're actually hearing. Plus, you'll be really able to comprehend and understand your professor and classmates. If I had a preference, I would try and use Bluetooth headphones, just so when you're writing down notes and stuff, you're not gonna have a cord all up in your way. Headphones just really limit the outside noise and could really just concentrate your hearing sense, which is honestly just half the battle. Alright, so tip number six. So along those same lines, I think it's important to inform your roommates and your family about your study schedule and when you have classes. I think this is important so that they know when to not distract you.
Andres, come to the dishes.
If you guys live at home with your parents and siblings and this is like a must. It really helps ease your mind knowing that no one's gonna call you to come and ask you to do something or ask you some dumb question. Alright, so tip number 7, make a plan after your Zoom class. I feel like this really helps you focus your attention when you're actually in class, and so you know that you have to be busy during that certain time period. You have to treat it like an actual class. After I would usually get home from class, I would, come to my apartment, and then I would, eat some food, maybe take a little bit of a break, and then I'll just get right back to the books. And then after I finish all my studying, I'll probably go and do some workout. But the point is that I had something to do lined up throughout the day. So my brain was able to distinguish the time that I was going to study and the time that I was able to do something else. I really feel like this technique helps you focus your attention on the current task. And when you're focused on the current task, whether it's studying or doing whatever you're doing, you're able to really concentrate and break down different parts of your day. And plus, it gives you something to look forward to after your class, thus keeping you less likely to grind on some COD and watch some Rick and Morty. Alright, tip number 8 is remember why you're taking the class. So if you're pursuing a career in healthcare or trying to be a lawyer or anything, it is likely that you're gonna have to take a standardized test about it. So for me, I'm going into healthcare. So I have to really focus on chemistry, genetics, biology, all these different classes. We have to learn it long term so that, when we take the MCAT or DAT or LSAT or whatever you need to take, you're able to recall and retain that information because you learned it before. If we give ourselves some more motivation behind a simple, boring chemistry class, then we'll be able to push forward with more of our goals and ambition. We're in this for the long haul. It's more than a class, it's your ticket to a new life. Alright, tip number 9 is designate a specific time in your day to relax. I think this is also important because it helps you reward your focus throughout the day. We have to be able to work hard and play hard. It gives us something to look forward to when we're actually studying as well. Plus, we're able to hold ourselves a bit more accountable and not take super long breaks because we're going to be saving that for another part of our day. Life is meant to be enjoyed, so don't overwork yourself to a certain point of burnout. But it's also important to remember that comes at the cost of just keeping a steady grind. I know this whole pandemic has been a shit show, and it really has robbed us of a lot this year. However, we owe it to ourselves to take our lives back. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, you guys do me a huge favor and hit that like button, and please subscribe, and I'll be coming out with these videos as soon as possible, alright? So thank you guys for watching, and peace.